Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Leo February 2022 horoscope forecast. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first thing up, the Sun will be in Aquarius as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 18th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time, well, this could manifest in a very, could be strong focus. It could be, in some cases, very, could be bizarre or eccentric, open adversaries in some cases, or even a strong focus and attention on a business partnership that could be Aquarius related, such as something with electronics or computers. Astrology, astronomy, innovation, new technology as some examples. And the thing about this too is when you have this transit, sometimes it could shine the light, so to speak, on that hidden adversary. It could be Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Aquarius characteristics. And just in general, there's more of a focus on relationships at this time for Aquarius, more so than usual. And the Sun is also connected with children and the dominant children and the biological father. So these people may be figuring more prominently in terms of it could be legal matters. They may be, it could be dealing something with negotiation, or even maybe some form of competition. Maybe there's unusual sports could be involved in, as an example. But anyway, well, as far as February goes, the Sun will be in Pisces from the 18th until the 28th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, this could be a strong focus at this time, Leo, for you on sacrificing in matters with shared resources. You may be giving a lot of compassionate, moral, emotional, monetary support at this time. But in some cases, this might also shine the light. It could be on a deceptive or duplicitous sexual partner, or someone you're in a shared resources situation with. It could be a business partnership, and you may be focusing on crisis situations that are very chaotic, to say the least, at this time. Some cases it could be a flooding, that might be naturally could be a crisis situation. And it's also, in some cases too, it might shine the light, so to speak, and on something. It could be on something deceptive, with insurance, or with taxes at this time. You might be also at this, or even some kind of credit card fraud. Remember, Pisces is about deception, duplicity. 8th house is connected with credit cards. It's associated with taxes and insurance as well. So be careful at this time, Leo, that you don't become a victim of something fraudulent related to credit cards at this point in time. Now, the next thing up. Well, the moon will be in, there'll be a new moon in Leo on February 1st. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time, this could be the start in some cases of, it could be, a relationship, maybe somebody that was a friend previously. It could be with somebody that's an Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Aquarian characteristics. Maybe it's the start of a Aquarius, partnership situation. It could be electronic, computers, astrology, innovation. Could be a business partnership associated with one of those things I just stated, associated with Aquarius, and also the time where you may begin a time of being altruistic and selfless to others in general, at this point in time. And Keep in mind, I mean, the seventh house is also the house of open adversary, so it could be the beginning of something, with, an open adversary, or it could even be a legal situation that might come about like very spontaneously, since we're talking about Aquarius energy. Um, Being an Aquarius, if it's a legal situation, it might have to do with something, with the internet, or be somebody online. Um, Another thing too, next thing I'm going to get, there's going to be a full moon in Leo on February 16th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time, well, in some cases, this may be the revelation or unveiling of a Leo physical related issue. It could be something with the heart or the spine or the upper back. Um, it may be, maybe there's a time where you might become tired, exasperated, or full at some situation, with the physical body at this time, and and you might tackle this with Leo ferocity. Um, Maybe it could also be a time, of an awareness, maybe being more cognizant, a self-revelation or unveiling of doing something, like a new beginning. That would be Leo related. It could be doing something, say, with performing, or with working in, doing circuit, working in the circus, or some entertainment field, something with theater, or working with children, being a cardiologist, doing something with sports, as some examples, or maybe even a creative endeavor at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up, Mercury will be in Capricorn as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 14th. So for Leo, the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So it may be a time where you may be, maybe you're contemplating or thinking about what you may be doing as far as a health situation goes, and maybe something Capricorn related, such as something with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, the gallbladder. This is also a time with a lot of disciplined and introspective thinking, and it may be about where you are in terms of your employment at this time. Leo, what do you want to do as far as that goes? It's a time where you might be doing a lot of planning and premeditation in matters that are connected with work and even service as well. 6th house is also the house of pets, so it might be a time too where you might be doing, there might be some thinking about what you're going to be doing as far as a situation with a pet, whether it's a pet that might be sickly, or can it be, or are you going to let the pet go? Are you going to retain? Are you going to, if you don't have a pet, maybe you're deciding, you're planning on actually obtaining one at some point of this transit. And anyway, it can, those are some ways that could manifest for as far as that transit goes. It could also be a time too where you might next transit I'm going to get at, Mercury is going to be in Aquarius from the 14th, as far as February goes, from the 14th until the 28th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized, highlighted for Leo. So at this time, Leo, you might find yourself having conversations about the future. Could be with a significant other, maybe with somebody you're in a relationship with, or an important friendship at this time, or even negotiations. It could be a time where you're expressing more innovative ideas and thoughts with 7th house people at this time, and there might be a time when you have this transit too. Remember, again, the 7th house is connected with open adversary, so it could also be a time where you might be thinking about what is going to be happening, what is going to be the future in this situation, and it may be a time as well, when you're as far as Mercury goes. Remember that Mercury is connected with siblings, cousins, and neighbors. So it could be that these people at this time, they may be Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply embody Aquarian characteristics. These people you may be more involved in with negotiations with these people, or there might be some competition, or just in general they might be factoring into your relationships more at this time, more so than usual, Leo. So and it's also, you might be thinking more about freedom and independence in your relationships at this point in time, Leo. There might be a time where you might need some kind of break, and you might be contemplating those matters. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now next thing up, Venus will be in Capricorn for the entirety of February 2022. So the sixth house will be emphasized and highlighted. Now during this time, as far as Venus, Capricorn, sixth house being emphasized and highlighted, this could be a time for you, Leo, where this is about more, valuing your health. And again, it could be maybe there's some issues, with the knees, the bones, the hamstrings, the gallbladder, the joints, the bones at this time. There may be money that may have to be spent on those issues. It could also be a time where you may be spending money on something for a business, which is connected with your employment. It could very well connected with your employment at this time. It's a business, of course, but it could also be a time where, if you're unattached, Leo, you may connect, with a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or one that simply embodies Capricorn characteristics. It could be somebody that's prominent in your daily routine or your place of employment. Maybe you meet this person at a health and fitness club as another example. And it can be a time too, you may be valuing more, about just being more disciplined, more responsible, more structured in your daily routine, in your work life, and health related habits and hygiene at this time as well. So well, anyway, well, the next thing up is Mars will be in Capricorn during the entirety of February 2022. So again, the sixth house will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time, well, the situations with it could be employees or people in your daily routine. It could even be an aunt or an uncle, may be more contentious and acrimonious than usual. There may be arguments over responsibilities or career, something business related. Maybe it's over just general coldness, being just cold in demeanor is what I'm saying, not frigid cold, not literally cold, but there can be it can also be where you might be expending a lot of disciplined and consistent energy more in health related matters, in the daily routine matters with hygiene at this time. It's a lot of planned. Mars in Capricorn can be about a lot of planned and premeditated energy as well. And this could be in matters with your pets, with service that you may render. It could be at your place of employment. It could be a lot of energy in a Capricorn related field. You're doing something with dentistry or accounting, information technology, masonry, or even general mundane work. And also too, the fact that you're talking about Mars, can be associated with physical injuries and pain, and the sixth house is being emphasized and highlighted. Sixth house corresponds with health, physical health, so there can be some issues or some injuries that might be connected with the knees, the bones, the hamstrings, the joints, the gallbladder at this time, Leo. So anyway, well, Jupiter will be in Pisces for the entire month of February 2022. So for Leo, the eighth house will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, Leo, well, this can manifest in a number of ways. It could be where you may, this could be fortuitous and prosperous, or it could be a Pisces, like a business connection, a shared resources situation, doing something with the metaphysical, which includes astrology or poetry or dancing, photography, chemistry, as some examples. But as I've stated in previous videos, and I'll state it here, that Jupiter can be very paradoxical, can be very strongly benign and benevolent, but also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. It might enlarge, dealing with something deceptive or duplicitous in matters, could be with taxes or insurance or credit card. There might be a greater propensity for having to deal with credit card fraud at this time. But Jupiter is also, remember, it's about the truth. So it can be a time where you might be finding out more about the truth, maybe about somebody you're in an intimate relationship with or shared resources situation with somebody that may have been very deceptive or duplicitous. There could also be a time where it might enlarge things that are just very nebulous or unclear. If you've experienced a death recently, Leo, it might be a time where maybe it's hard to maybe understand maybe why a person died, the cause of death. It could be one of those, deaths that may have been undetermined. It can also be a time where this could be very fortuitous and beneficial, perhaps making a spiritual transformation at this point in time, and also enlarging the ability to sacrifice and express compassion in crisis situations as well that you may be dealing with. So anyway, now the next thing up, well, Saturn will be in Aquarius for the entirety of February 2022. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, Leo, you may experience some restrictions and limitations and in relationships. This might be a time where you're called upon for more responsibilities. It could be in a business, partnership, something Aquarius related, such as something with computers or electronics, or it could be astrology or astronomy, anything that could be Aquarius related. At this time, you might feel at this time as well where you're not, you're just maybe you're dealing again with restrictions. It could be in your relationships, or it may be dealing with maybe just at a time where you might be finding out that working in some business partnership may require more of a laborious effort than usual. If you're dealing with any open adversaries, you might find at this time where it might be more work than you thought it would be at this time. It might also be a time too where it might give more structure and discipline, perhaps in internet connections, internet relationships at this time. And also you might find yourself working laboriously on some kind of internet negotiations with somebody at this point in time as well. And it could also be time too where you look at this transit you're talking about, Saturn and Aquarius in the 7th house being emphasized and highlighted. In some cases this could be about an older person, maybe an open enemy. Sometimes it might actually be the father, and these people may either be an Aquarius Sun or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Aquarius characteristics. So and you might at this time, if you're unattached at this time, Leo, you may marry an older person at this point in time. And again, it could be an Aquarius Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or one that embodies those traits. Now Uranus will be in Taurus for the entirety of February 2022. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time, Leo, you might find at this point in time, maybe there's something erratic and sporadic about your career. There may be instability in it. You might see that the dominant parent, which is often the father, may be acting unpredictably or unusually, or maybe the connection with this person is very sporadic at this time. You may become involved in a Uranus type of field, profession, maybe something with astronomy or meteorology, aviation, astronomy, computers, electronics at this time. And you might also find that Uranus is also connected with friendships. So it could be friendships that are very loyal, steadfast, stable, reliable, trustworthy, that might figure more prominently in your stature in life, your social status, your career at this time, and even perhaps gaining some kind of notoriety and recognition. Could also be a time where something very unpredictable or spontaneous happens in connection with your reputation and public image, and whether it's good or bad, a lot of that can be predicated and dependent on aspects that makes the points in your chart. If say if you have a sextile or trine to your natal Jupiter, it could be something very auspicious and positive. But say a natal, like an adverse aspect to Saturn, it might be something that happens unexpectedly that lessens, that diminishes perhaps that something with your with your public image and reputation at this time. It might cause sorrow and despondency. Now, another thing, next thing up, well, Neptune will still be in Pisces. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo at this time. Again, as I was stating previously with other Pisces energy at this time, that you might be more susceptible. It could be to some kind of credit card fraud or something with insurance or taxes that is deceptive and duplicitous. It may be a time where you're showing more compassion and forgiveness in an intimate relationship, or somebody you're in a shared resources scenario with. It could also be a time too where the 8th house is also the house of surgery, so you might find yourself having some kind of perhaps some surgery on the feet or the toes, or something that's associated with the lymphatic system, or weakened immune system. At this time, a sexual partner may be more nebulous or unclear than usual. It could also be a time where a situation, sometimes this can be the dissipation, dissolving of libido at this time, especially if this is occurring at the time where you are an older person at this time, and that could be some ways that this could manifest and pan out for you, Leo. Now, anyway, last but not least, Pluto will still be in Capricorn, of course, and Pluto will be in Capricorn for the entire month of February 2022. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, Leo, first thing up, in some cases it can manifest. It could be in the death of an aunt or an uncle, or an employee that maybe you knew well. It can be somebody that was prominent in your daily routine. And it might be a time too where Pluto is connected with surgery, and it may be time where you, in the 6th house is the house of health, you might find yourself maybe getting some kind of like a reconstructive knee surgery, or something connected with the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, the gallbladder at this time. Remember, Pluto is also about trauma, so you might be experiencing more trauma in these areas that I just described connected with Capricorn. It could also be a time where you might feel like you need to transform something in your health, life, your daily routine. Some cases it could be the death of a pet. 6th house is connected with pets, and may also be a time too where you might be more obsessed and fixated on health-related matters. It could be service-related matters as well at this point in time. And it might be a time where you might maybe doing something Pluto-related as far as your employment goes. It could be something with psychology or the occult, which includes astrology or recycling, taxes, insurance, or working like in investigation field like forensics. So those are some ways that this transit may manifest and pan out for you, Leo. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.